Welcome to How Was Your Day podcast. Anthony was asking,
What is love to you?
what is love to me?
Ultimate question.
But I don't know. I think love comes in so many forms. I don't know. When I think of love, I think of how my mom is towards me. I think my mom has the most pure love I have ever seen in my entire life. For me.
I'm sure that'll be most people with, their parents still in their lives, or, I feel like a parent's love is going to be like your first definition of love. So it's cool that you say that first.
Yeah, but that's just what I think when I think of love. Like, just so unconditional, pure, innocent, non-judging, caring, thinking about me, good communication with each other, honesty. Definitely, that's what I think of when I think of my mom. I thought that there was no such thing as unconditional love. But after everything I put my mom through, she still loved me and was there for me. Then after that, I realized that it existed, which was very important to me. So yeah, that's what I think of when I think of love. But obviously, we're talking about romantic love. But when I think of romantic love, it's kind of the same.
Like you stick through thick and thin type of deal.
Or you try to.
You try to.
I don't think you should be with someone forever if it's not right. But love, I think, is primarily about the feeling that you have towards that person, which is really hard to describe. Love can be so many things, but I think the most important part of it is the feeling that you have. Caring about that person, like feeling butterflies about them, wanting to be there for them no matter what, missing them when they're gone, wanting them in your life, thinking about them when things happen, like looking forward to being around them, like even if you're living together, you know what I mean? In my opinion, this is just my opinion, but not wanting other people, having good communication, being honest with each other, but nowadays when I think about it, I think about just kind of being one person. That's like something that I think of when I think of romantic love for sure. It's just like getting completely involved in each other's lives and just becoming one person basically. Which is, I realize more as time goes on, is that that's a lot to ask for. And I don't know, as time goes on, I get more disillusioned that it's possible. In the way that I think or want. You know what I mean? In the what's it called? Ideal way that I want. I think it is possible, but not between a man and a
woman. And that's because you believe men. So would you say, you said 99.9% of men are not, what was it? Not.
I think I said just not good people.
Not good people.
To me.
Would you say, yeah, it's she's a feminist, so watch it.
Obviously there's people that are gonna not feel that way about men, but that's how I feel in my experience towards men.
Yeah,
it's
based on your experience.
Most of them are not good people.
So, and that's the reason why you'd say a relationship between a man and a woman is less likely than, or I'm sorry, would you say it's not possible between a man and a woman?
I think it's very, very unlikely to have that between a man and a woman. Not just because men are bad people, in my opinion, but because we are just so different. And, opposites attract, but it doesn't necessarily make for a great, long thing.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you don't need a long relationship for it to be a good one. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Longevity is usually a good indicator of meaningful love.
So with that, how about a relationship between a man and a man? Do you think because those men are
That's a good question.
gay that they have a better mindset about this stuff, or maybe they've contemplated love and sexuality enough to the point where they can understand what it is?
That's a good question, but I honestly don't know. I haven't really had too many friendships with gay men, so I don't really know how they are
I feel
usually.
you.
I don't know how they are like deeply as people
Right.
normally. So I don't really know. It's a good question. But I don't know. Just in general, from everything that I've seen, I don't think that men are capable of the same love that I think
The ideal
that the
love.
ideal is. And I'm not saying that this is like the end goal for life, because for everyone else other than you that I've been with, I didn't want what I'm describing. Well, I wanted it, but not with them.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I remember you saying you kept people distant.
and I just naturally didn't want to be around them, and I didn't want to get close to them.
So what was the
Just naturally, not just because of my mindset, but because just how I naturally felt.
what were you with them because you saw potential in that and you wanted to kind of stick around to see if that was possible with them, or did you were you looking for something else entirely?
I could say it's as simple as I like them.
Yeah, okay.
Um, I just think most of it goes back to feelings, which is so strange because it's such a on a whim thing that you feel. But I think it's a great indicator of things. Like how I felt when I met you. I mean, even if I was single, I don't ask out every single guy that I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just felt like I should, and I didn't really think about why. I just think in romantic relationships, it's a really good indicator of how you feel. If it doesn't feel forced, I think not being forced is one of the most important things. And just having, well, I'm a really big believer in fate. So when I felt like just a natural feeling of being attracted to you, or like liking your personality when we first hung out, that was a really important sign to me because of that natural feeling, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feeling of yeah.
Feelings are almost impossible to like explain.
Yeah.
They're irrational, and that's why fate is involved in the conversation now, because it's one of those things. It's like spirituality, you just have these feelings, and people say chemical reactions, but that's as far as like an intellectual conversation would go with that.
Yeah. But I mean, there have been people that I've met that I've liked, but I haven't felt like
Pursuing.
Like an instant connection.
Oh, I feel.
But yeah, anyways, what was my point with this? Oh, yeah, just in general, I don't think that men are capable of the same love that I want. And I think maybe my mom has, I'm not blaming her, obviously, but just from what I felt from my mom, gave me a really high standard, I think, for what I want. Oh, my point was that I don't generally want what I'm describing. I want it in the end, if that makes sense.
Like when you're older?
Not when I'm older, but in the end. I don't know if that makes sense.
Or after.
But just
after
above
experiencing a certain amount of things.
No, it's just like if I'm thinking like about my life as a whole, that's what I want. Does that make sense?
I feel you.
But not necessarily like in the moment.
Like as a result, you want this.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel you.
Because in general, like I said before, I don't like getting close to people. I find it stressful and unnatural and weird.
You're introverted,
Yeah. And it stresses me out because it's just like one of the things in life that like opens you up to the most pain. I think. So I don't know. I generally like try to avoid getting close to people as much as I can.
So we watched Louis, stand up, Louis C.K. What do you call it? Hearing, because I know another Louis quote that you like is in the show where he's talking about love being pain, and then he reiterates that again in the stand up. Do you feel like do you have any different thoughts about that every time? Because I know you like the quotes and you like when he says that kind of thing, but you're also afraid of it. So is it does it make you want to experience that pain more now that you can identify that it's actually love? Does it make you open up to it at all, or are you still scared of that feeling? Because it's pain, and I'm trying to figure out like something to like metaphor it to, you know.
I feel you.
Something. I mean, all I can think about are drugs, like things that are painful. I guess like this is not going to be relatable, but like an acid trip. Like you have a nightmare, but in the end you feel like a lot more whole as a person. At least
I feel you. Well, I think of everything as learning experiences, no matter what it is. No matter how fucking terrible and shitty it is, it's a learning experience. Everything. So no matter what, I get that out of it. But it's weird. The more time goes on, no matter what I experience, I still believe in like this weird fairy tale kind of shit. Which is it just has no basis in reality, I think.
I feel you. I think well, I think honestly that you'd find exactly what you're looking for in a devout Christian. Like honestly,
I feel you.
Like that and I'm almost surprised that you. I mean, knowing who you are, it's obvious that you aren't Christian, but it's surprising that you aren't. I think it's definitely possible. It's weird. Do you think it's a generational thing? Like, I feel like this generation of men definitely will have, like, you're gonna find way less people like that. But I'm thinking about older generations, and they were kind of shitty too.
Yeah, I mean, they had what I want on the surface level, but then there was like like alcoholism and beating your wife and children and cheating on her and shit.
And the normalization of that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just I don't know, dude. It's weird.
I understand that. I mean, if what you want in the end is, I mean, you should have high standards because you have a long life ahead of you and you're still young.
Yeah. But yeah, also, if I was with a Christian person, like, I can't guarantee that I would want that with that person.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, it's hard for me to say
because
like
ideally, like ideal wise, you would find that in a Christian, but
I feel you.
Obviously Christians are kind of cringy.
Cringy.
Just kidding.
But in general, it's just hard for me to say because we've been together for like almost 2 years, and I don't know how I would be dating other people after if we broke up or something.
Yeah, it's hard to think about.
It's hard to think about because I was so different before I started dating you. Just in what I was looking for and what I was wanting.
Yeah, you're a new person now.
Yeah. So it's hard to say if because even like a week before we started dating, I didn't feel the way that I feel now. So it's really hard to say. But in general, for sure, I know for a fact that if we started dating, I wouldn't date another man. Ever, probably. It's just a huge waste of time, no offense.
No, I feel you, and I understand. I don't know, like me seeing you, I feel like you're so young to. I mean, it makes sense that you have these thoughts and these thought processes based on your experiences. But I see myself as a really young person, and I keep
So funny that you say that because you always go back and forth on that. One day he's always like, "Oh my god, I'm so old. I'm already 22."
Dog.
And then the next day he's like, "Oh, I'm only 22."
I'm gonna be 23. I'm probably gonna have like a breakdown, but
can't wait for that.
for the sake of argument, and this is around because just being around like older people, even being around our roommate was 26, and just seeing how kind of like already out of touch he was with like his music alone, like 2000s music. I'm like, holy shit. And I always think about like what is going to be my shitty music that I play for the new generation, which is already kind of coming out because it's Earl. I'm probably always gonna like Earl. But to see that, and then at my old job I was working with like pretty much 30 late 30s early 40s people, and they're constantly talking about how like old they feel or how young I am. It seems like, and so in knowing that, like I feel young and I feel like I still have a lot to learn and experience. So honestly, it's kind of counterproductive because you question all of your beliefs and you're like, wait, when is this belief gonna change? You know, but so when I hear you say that, I feel like it sucks because you could find a really cool guy out there, but you might give up before it's too late.
I feel you.
But also based on, you know, fate, if you want to go that route, you know, whatever you choose.
Whatever
if
I choose is my fate.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Like if you know, if you are meant to find a dude that'll give you all that, even if you chose to renounce men, like you might still run into that guy.
Yeah. What I'm thinking of doing is, if we break up, to basically only pursue women. But if because you know, like every single time I go out, someone tries to talk to me.
Yeah. Well,
so
that's what I'm saying.
If I met someone who I had that feeling with, then I wouldn't necessarily, what's the word, reject it. But I would not actively look for that at all.
I feel you.
And even if I did, I wouldn't believe that it would be productive to myself.
Just maintain the bi label and you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Don't go full lesbo. Never go.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't if I wanted to, but also sex-wise, I think it would probably be helpful to me to not
renounce men.
To not have sex with the man.
Oh, not have sex with men.
Yeah.
Just to close the vagina back up.
Close it back up. Yeah. I just have too many issues with that shit.